Hello, it's Sonia here, The Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy to have you here. So today we are going to be crocheting a summer top, and this is going to be super easy, and it's going to be a template or like a recipe so that you can kind of customize this to make it however you would like. And you will be able to use any type of yarn, any size hook for this. Now I do suggest a yarn that has, since it's summer, like a cotton, linen, bamboo blend or any of that. So the yarn that I am using is a cotton blend, and here it's called Bella Cocoa, and I'm going to use this white, and then I have a blue here that I'm also going to be using. Now this yarn says it's Aran, but it really is not. I mean, I think it's like in between a DK weight yarn and a worsted, to be honest. Like Aran to me is like closer to number 5, so I don't know. This yarn was given to me. I don't know where it came from. It's Bella Cocoa. It's a blend of cotton and acrylic. The hook that I'm using is a G hook or a 4.25 millimeter hook. So if it was Aran yarn, you would not be able to use a G hook. You would definitely need to use a larger hook. So, and this yarn is fine with this hook. So anyway, you will be able to make this in any size. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to chain a multiple of 6, and then you are going to add 5. So you're probably wondering, how long of a chain do I need to make? How do I figure that out? So I went ahead and I already started my chain. So here's my chain. I chained 59 because 6 times 9 is 54, and then you add 5, it's 59. So this top is made top down. So how I did this, and there's 2 different ways that you can figure out your chain. So the one way is the way that I used is I took a top that I already own that I like the size of, and because we are making this top down, so think of like under your armpits, and I want the top of my top to be a little more form-fitting, so I picked a form-fitting top. So here on my desk is the sample top that I use. So it's like a basic tank top. So I took my chain, I just started chaining, and so here, right here, this is the armpit area of the top. So I took the chain and I just measured it against there. So I started on this end, and here's the other end, and it's kind of bang on. And as you can see, I'm pulling on the chain because I am going to want to block this a little bit because it's a cotton yarn, and it's just going to look nicer when it's blocked. So you can see that I'm pulling the chain taut, kind of simulating blocking, because you know when you block you kind of pull it a little bit. So again, this is the underarm area of the top, so I just have the chain on the one end and the other. So my suggestion is, if you're using this method with the top, just start chaining, but make sure you count your chains because this is made with 2 panels and you're going to make each panel the same. And so you want to make sure you remember what you chained. And so I chained about 40, and then I was like, okay, let's see how we're measuring up. And I was getting close, so then I just chained a couple more because it does need to be a multiple of 6. So I got to 54, which is 9 times 6 is 54. And I was like, oh, that's really close. And I added 5. And then it was 59. So it doesn't have to fit exactly, you know, from armpit to armpit, but you know, as long as it's pretty close, and this one is pretty close. So the other method that you can use if you don't want to use the top method is just make a chain and just measure it across the top of your chest under your armpits. So as you can see here, I'm just measuring it across, and you can also do it that way as well to determine how long you need your chain. But again, it needs to be a multiple of 6 and add 5. So again, I have 59 chains. Okay, so once you have your chains, then you are going to work on row 1. So this is made top down. So in my second chain from my hook, I like to work in the back bump. You do not have to, but I do. And I'm just going to single crochet in that second chain from my hook. And And whatever size you're making, it's the same. So this will be, you're just going to single crochet all the way across. So this is a really easy beginner clothing item. You know, basically it's 2 panels and then you're going to add some straps. And as I said, you can kind of customize this. So this is going to be a basic filet crochet pattern that we're going to use. So if you've never done filet crochet, this is your chance, and it's just a basic one. But what you can do with this is you can take this template and make your own design, whatever you want. So I'm probably going to do that, is I'm going to use much thinner yarn. I have some crochet thread that I thought I might want to use for a clothing project sometime. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to come up with a chart and I am going to make another top using that. Oops, and this yarn is a splitty yarn, so this will be fun. Never used this yarn before. Been waiting for a project, and okay. So yeah, you can have fun with this. So this is just going to be a basic crochet filet one, but then you can take it and kind of customize it to your own once you see how it's made. So again, this is row 1 and we're just working single crochet all the way across. So I am going to do that and I will meet you back. Alright, so there's row 1. I've got my single crochet. So row 2, I'm just going to chain 3 and turn my work. So this is more of a beginner project as long as you know the fundamental stitches. I feel like with beginner projects, especially on YouTube, someone will say beginner and then somebody struggles because the viewer will see beginner and think, oh, I don't need to know anything. But that's not necessarily true. With most beginner patterns, you need to know the fundamentals of crochet. So beginner stitches like single crochet, double crochet, and that's what we're doing here. So as long as you can single crochet, double crochet, and make a chain, you can do this. All right, so we're going to double crochet in the next stitch, and we're just going to double crochet. Oops, yes we are. We're going to double crochet all the way across. And I am going to work 2 rows of double crochet here. So I am just going to be repeating row 2. So I'm going to work row 2 here, then work row 3 with double crochet again. So now this is your top, so you don't have to. So I'm going to show you this basic template, and as I said, what you can do is you can, if you want to make other tops, you can play around with it. You don't even have to do this double crochet row. You could jump right into the fillet. But again, I just wanted to show you the basic idea of the construction of this, and then you can just take that and have fun with it. Alright, so I'm going to keep going here, working row 2 and row 3, and I will meet you back. Alright, so I am finishing at the end of row 3, so you do want to crochet on top of that previous chain 3, and now I'm going to switch to my other color. You don't have to, but I want to. So I'm going to be using this baby blue here. So I am just going to change my color, and this is how I like to change colors. Just drape it on the hook, pull through to finish off the stitch. So you could have more rows, but I like it like this, and we are going to talk about increasing. So I want this to be more of like a baby doll type style top, so I want it to be more form-fitting on the top, like under the arms, and then just kind of flare out a little bit. So we will get into that. So row 4 here, we are going to get into the body part of the top. So this is the top part, and now we're going to get into the rest of it. We're going to chain 3 and turn our work. So we are going to work 3 more double crochet, and each end of your top, you're going to want your stitches to be the same. You're going to have like bookend stitches here. So I have 4 double crochet here. I'm going to want to have 4 double crochet on the other end as well. So now I'm going to fix this. This yarn is going to be a fun one with the splitting, but we'll work through it. We're going to chain 2. We're going to get into the fillet part. We're going to skip 2 stitches and then work 4 double crochet in the next 4. So we've created a block, a mesh block there. And this is just going to be a basic checkerboard fillet crochet stitch pattern. So I have my 4 double crochet. We're going to continue across. We're going to chain 2, skip 2, and work 4 double crochet. So what you can do is, this is a basic like checkerboard fillet crochet stitch pattern, but you can incorporate this technique and create your own chart and make your own top with a picture on it if you want in fillet crochet. I love fillet crochet because it looks very complicated, especially when you're making a picture, but it's just chains and double crochet. It's very simple. It's one of those deceptive patterns where people are like, "Woo, look at that," but you know that, oh, it wasn't that hard. I love crochet patterns like that. So chaining 2, skipping 2, working 4 double crochet. So I'm going to keep going here across and I will meet you back. Okay, so I'm getting to the end of my row 4 here, so I'm going to chain 2, skip 2, and then I have 4 stitches left, so I'm going to work my last 4 double crochet because we want each end to look the same. So your bookend rows is how I like to refer to them. They're always going to be double crochet. Alright, so we have 4 double crochet on this end and 4 on that end. So now we're going to work row 5, chain 3, turn our work. So now I am going to want to increase a little bit because, as I said, I do want it to flare out a little, and you can measure it against another top of yours to see how far out you want your increases. Okay, so what I mean by increasing, so here is an existing top that I already made. It's cute, I like it, but it is a little bit, it was my first one, so it was my prototype, and so up here under the arms, like, it's a little big for my liking. So as you can see, this new one is definitely a lot smaller under the arm. But what I do like about this one is I like down here on the sides, I do like how it flares out down there. So I do think for this guy here, I want it to be close to that on the sides. And again, we are going to block this. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start increasing on this end here and on this end, and then in the middle here is going to be my fillet pattern. So my ends are going to be the increases only, and then in the middle this pattern here is going to stay the same. So that's what I mean, measure it against. So like I said, I do like how wide it is here on just up here. It's just a little big for me. It's fine. Like, I'll probably wear it around the house. It is cute. It's just, like I said, I just wanted it to be a little bit more form-fitting on the top area. Okay, so we're going to work row 5. So I've already worked my chain 3, and I did my little talk there about the increasing. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start increasing here on this end. So in my very next double crochet, I'm going to work 2 double crochet. Now you don't have to increase it. If you wanted a more form-fitting top, then you don't have to increase. But like I said, I wanted just some more of a baby doll style with this guy. So I've got my 2 double crochet there, and you want to increase gradually. You don't want to just like throw in a whole bunch of stitches, and because then it's just gonna look a little messy. So I've got 2 double crochet in that one spot, and then I'm going to double crochet in the next one. So if you chose not to increase, you would just work your 3 double crochet and then you would have a total of 4. But I now have 5. So now I'm going to continue in the pattern, the fillet pattern. So we have our chain 2 space, we're going to work 2 double crochet. Yes, we are. So in each chain 2 space, you are going to work 2 double crochet. And then I'm going to double crochet in the next one because we're going to create another mesh block. So we're going to chain 2 and skip 2 double crochet and then double crochet in the next. And I do have a more detailed tutorial on filet crochet. I can put a link up for those if you wanted to see or learn a little bit more about filet crochet. So now we're going to work 2 double crochet in the next chain 2 space, double crochet in the next double crochet. We're going to create our next mesh block. So we're chaining 2, skipping 2, working double crochet in the next. So we're just going to repeat that all the way across. And then when I get to the end, I want this end and this end to be the same. So I'm going to double crochet in the next 2 double crochet. The second to last one, I'm going to put 2 double crochet in and then double crochet on top of my chain 3. So I'm going to go do that and I will meet you back. Alright, so I finished up row 5 here. So I've got my 2 increases there, 2 increases there. So now you're just going to continue to work in pattern and increase as necessary. So we are going to be repeating row 4 here. Now this one we had 4 double crochet, but because I increased, I now am going to have 5. So I'm chaining 3, turning my work. So this is my first stitch. So here's my second one, third one. Now I'm going to increase like every other row, and I'm not sure how many rows. So I'm just working even for this row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because again, I want to do it gradually. So you can see how it just slightly flares out. Now we're ready to work back in pattern. So we're chaining 2, skipping 2, double crocheting in the next. So we created that mesh block, lines up with that one. So we've got that double crochet. So now we're going to work 2 double crochet in the chain 2 space. Again, we're doing just a basic checkerboard pattern. And I'm going to chain 2, skip 2. So what you're going to want to do for your top is you're going to be repeating rows 4 and 5 and increase on the ends as necessary for however long you want your top. And then what you'll do is you want to make another panel. So whatever you did for this guy, you're going to do again for the next, and then we're going to put them together. And then we will work on the straps. So like I said, pretty easy construction here. And so if you want to just write down what you did, or if you can just look at what you did to make the other one. So I'm not sure how many increases I'm going to do. So I'm going to keep going here, working my first panel, and then I will meet you back. Alright, so I have finished up my panel. So here's the one, and as you can see how I increased on the side, I increased up to 7, and I did the same on each side. And then I made another panel, and I did the same exact thing. I worked 27 rows. So this part I worked 21, and then what I did for the bottom section, I wanted it to be the same as the top here. So we worked a single crochet row and then 2 double crochet rows. I did the same here. So when I felt like I did enough of the fillet pattern, I worked 2 double crochet rows and then a single crochet row, and I cut my yarn. You don't have to do that. Like I said, this is like a template. You can kind of just take the construction and kind of figure out how you want your own top to be styled. But now we have to start attaching our panels. Okay, so here is my second panel. So you can see the color scheme's a little bit different because I tried to make them both the same with the blue and the white on top, but I soon realized I didn't have enough blue. So I thought, well, we'll make it two-tone. So one side's going to be blue, one side's going to be white. I think it's actually going to be cute. So this is actually the bottom part of the top, and I did everything the same other than the color differences for this guy. So I chained 59, worked my single crochet row, my 2 double crochet, and then the fillet, and then I also increased the same on each side. So what we need to do is we need to attach our sides, and I don't like sewing, so I have not cut my yarn here because we are going to just slip stitch up the sides to attach our panels. And the nice thing with this stitch pattern is it's reversible, so it doesn't matter what side is touching. So I didn't cut my yarn, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to insert my hook right in that last stitch, and then I'm going to go to the other last stitch on the other side and insert my hook and work the slip stitch. And now I'm just going to match the side so you can see that right there, and I'm going to continue to just slip stitch up my work here. So you just want to make sure that you match everything. Now, if you don't want to slip stitch, by all means, you can just sew your sides, but again, I don't like to sew, so we're not doing that. So I'm going to keep going, just slip stitching all the way across, and then of course you will need to do the same on the other side as well. And then we will work on finishing up our top here. Alright, so here is my top, and as you can see I already have one of the straps done, and I wanted to do it all in one color, but I realized I did not have enough to make 2 straps. So we did this split look here, and I think it's kind of cute. So I'm hoping that I have enough for the other strap. So I'm going to show you a clip on how to figure out where to place your straps. So you can see I have my top on, and I already completed one of the straps, as you can see, but I'm going to show you how to figure out where to place your straps. So you do want to try on your top, and then I would go in front of a mirror. That's how I did it. And I just figured out how wide of a strap I wanted. So I did 6 single crochet across. You could have yours thinner, you could have it wider. It just, you know, depends on what you want. And then just figure out by looking at the mirror where you want your strap placement. So that's what I did. And then I placed a stitch marker, and then I worked my 6 single crochet, and then just worked enough rows until the strap was long enough. Alright, so we are back, and so here is my stitch marker for the strap placement, and I already did this one, and so for the second one it was pretty easy. I was just able to count how far across I did. So this is the front of my top here, my right side facing. So I'm a right-handed crocheter, so right-handed crochet, you crochet from the right to the left. So to do this strap over here, I placed my stitch marker, and then I wanted 6 single crochet, so then I just counted 6 across and then started here. But because we are on this side, I can start here. So I'm going to attach my yarn. So we're going to start with the blue, pull out that stitch marker. Now you don't have to use single crochet for your straps, so that's what I wanted to do. You could do double crochet, you could do a fillet strap, you can do a whole bunch of different things. Like I said, this is a template to help you as a guide to figure out how you want to do your top. And as I said, I am doing 6 single crochet. You don't have to do 6 single crochet. You could do 2, you could do 8, it doesn't matter. You could do double crochet, but I just thought single crochet, I just like the way it looks, and it's just a sturdy strap. Now I did 55 rows, so I tried it on and then just kind of, now I have it attached securely now, but just attached it so I could see how I liked the way it looks, and 55 was enough for me. So I suggest you try it on for your first strap and then just make a note of what you did for the second, so you can do the same for the second. Alright, so I've attached my yarn. I've already chained one, and I'm just single crocheting in that stitch. Now we are just working on the ends of the row. That's why we worked in the back bump, so it's really easy to figure out where to put your hook, you know, right in there, because it looks like the tops of regular single crochet. That's why I like to do that. So as I said before, I am doing 6 single crochet across, and I'm doing 3 of one color and then 3 of the other, because like I said, I didn't have enough yarn to do one entire strap, and I'm hoping that I have enough for the second one, because I think this is really cute and I'm excited to wear it, and so I really want to have enough yarn to finish up these straps. So we're going to cross our fingers, cross our toes. Okay, so now I'm just switching colors. Again, my original plan was to do all of the same color. I wanted to do blue straps, but I quickly realized I did not have enough yarn to do 2 straps all in the blue, and I don't have another skein of this yarn. I only have 2 skeins, one of the blue and one of the white. So yeah, we're hoping that it'll be enough. I think it will. Alright, so I have my 6 single crochet, and then I'm just going to work, as I said, 55 rows. So if you want to know how I change the colors, this is the wrong side, so I chained one and turned. I'm working a single crochet in that first stitch, second one, third one. Now this is my wrong side, so I'm pulling that yarn to the front, and then I'm just picking up the blue and finishing off the stitch and just leaving that white to hang out, and then just continuing with the blue. So you don't have to do this. You could have them all in one color, of course. I just, like I said, didn't have enough yarn. So we are just improvising here. Chain one and turn. So I'm going to continue working my straps here, and then I'll show you how I attached on the other side. I did not sew. I try to avoid sewing if I can. Alright, so I finished my second strap here. There it is, and now I need to attach it to the other side. So I worked 55 rows like I did on the other one, so now we need to attach it on the other side. So I went ahead and I already placed my stitch marker, and I just did the same as for the other side, so I just counted across how many I did for this strap. So what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch across, but we're going to do it on the wrong side. Alright, so now I have it inside out. This is the wrong side facing. This is the wrong side facing on the back, and you can tell because this is where I slip stitched on the sides here. And so now we are going to slip stitch across the back. So I counted in from here, but now I need to count an extra 6 because I can't start stitching here because I ended here. So I'm just counting from where I need from my stitch marker. So it's going to be right here is where I will need to start. I'm just going to stick my hook in there as a placeholder, turn this to get it ready. So I have it turned upside down and ready to go here. So I'm taking my hook out. I'm going to put my hook back in my loop here. So I'm just chaining one, turning. So what we're going to do is we're just going to slip stitch across to attach. Now you could sew it if you want to, but I don't like to sew if I don't have to. Sometimes you have to, but for this project you don't have to. So right here I'm just going to slip stitch these guys together. And I am doing it kind of tightly because I want it pretty secure. Okay, I'm at my stitch marker. I'm just going to take it out because I don't need it anymore. Alright, and then when you get to the end, you can just cut your yarn. And because I slip stitched, sometimes you can just pull it out, but I really want this secure. So I like to take the tail and I like to feed it through the loop, and that just gives it a little bit more security. And when you're slip stitching or attaching your strap, just make sure it's not twisted, which this is not. So then of course you're going to turn it right side out. So here is where we just stitched, so it's nice and secure there, and over here, and then this is going to be, I'm going to consider this the front, but I mean I think it's kind of reversible to be honest, but I just like the blue more on the front, and this is the front. So of course you're going to need to weave in any loose ends, and I am going to block this, and I will show you a clip on how I like to block. And then you'll be all set for wearing. So I hope you enjoyed this project, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.